Good evening, everyone. Namo Buddhaya. Teruvan Saranai Sielu Denatama. Very warm welcome to our regular Saturday evening Dhamma Dana blessing program. We host every Saturday evening to bring the community together, hosted by Lecturer Dhamma Nikethanaya Buddhist Center. This is a great opportunity for us to share the Dhamma, which is the highest Dana. Today, Dhamma Dana is being sponsored by Mrs Ramya Cooke and family. They would like to transfer merits in loving memory of her beloved father, Mr. Nicholas George de Silva Gunawardane, also loving mother, late Mrs Piyawadana Gunawardane, also late brother Mr Asiri Devapriya Gunawardane, also brother-in-law Mr Sarath de Silva, cousin sister Mrs Malini Weerasekera, and all departed relatives and friends. May they all attain supreme bliss of Nibbana through sugathi life. This special Dhamma Dana is also being sponsored to share the blessings with all for good health, protection, and progress. Yes, we wish all those aspirations to be fulfilled. May this be a great blessing for all of you. Teruvan Saranai Sielu Denatama, Sama Senasurada Dinakama Pavatana, Dharma Daname Ashirwada Pinkamatai, ඔබ හැම දෙනාම සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ. අද දවසේ මේ උදුම් පින්කමේ ධර්ම දානමය දායකත්වය අරගෙන කටයුතු කරන්නේ රම්‍යා කුක් මහත්මිය ඇතුළු පවුලේ සියලු දෙනා විසින්. අභාව ප්‍රාප්ත ආදරණීය පියාණන් වන නිකලස් ජෝර්ජ් ද සිල්වා ගුණවර්ධන මහත්මයාටත් දයාබර මෑණියන් වන පියවදන ගුණවර්ධන මහත්මිය දයාබර සහෝදර මහත්මයා වන ආසිරි දේවප්‍රිය ගුණවර්ධන මහත්මයාටත් ඥාති සහෝදරියක් වන මාලිනී වීරසේකර මහත්මියත් එවැගේම සරත් ද සිල්වා මහත්මයා ඇතුළු අභාව ප්‍රාප්ත සියලු ඥාතීන්ට පින් අනුමෝදන් කිරීම පිණිසයි මේ උතුම් ධර්ම දානමය පින්කම සිදු කරනු ලබන්නේ. ඒ සෑම දිනාටම සුගති සංඛ්‍යාත නිවන් සුව සැලසේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා. ඒ වගේම ලෝකවාසී සියලු දෙනාටම නිදුක් නිරෝගී සුව ප්‍රාර්ථනා කිරීමත් මේ පින්කම තුලින් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ සියලු පින්කම් බලාපොරොත්තු ප්‍රාර්ථනා ඒකාන්ත වශයෙන් ඉෂ්ට සිද්ධ වේවා කියන ප්‍රාර්ථනාව ඇති කරගෙනයි අද පින්කම සිදු කරනු ලබන්නේ. Today, for this Dhamma Dana ceremony, our most venerable Dikwalle Sila Sumana Hamduro is joining from Sri Lanka. He stayed here over 2 years during the pandemic time and went back to Sri Lanka. But he continues his blessings to make this program successful by keeping himself awake at this late night in Sri Lanka and joining to share the Dhamma. We deeply appreciate his contributions and effort and wish him all the good health and protection. In fact, he was not feeling very well last few weeks. Even last week he could not attend because of that. He hasn't still recovered fully, but he was very kind to join us this evening to share the Dhamma. May these blessings be with him to recover from all these difficulties and gain the good health and protection. We welcome our Hamduro very respectfully. Teruwan Saranai සියලු දෙනාටම මේ සඳහා වැඩමවා වැඩ සිටින අතිගෞරවනීය දික්වැල්ලේ සීල සුමන පඬිත හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ මෛතාම ගෞරවයෙන් පිළිගනු ලබනවා. උන්වහන්සේ විහාරස්ථානයට අනුශාසකත්වයේ දෙමින් බොහොම හදවතින්ම ආශිර්වාද කරමින් කටයුතු කරන ස්වාමින් වහන්සේ නමක්. උන්වහන්සේ මේ බොහෝ රැබෝ වී තිබෙන අවස්ථාවෙත් ලංකාවේ සිටගෙන සහභාගී වෙනවා. මේ ධර්ම දානමේ වැඩසටහන සාර්ථක කරගන්න. විශේෂයෙන්ම උන්වහන්සේ පහුගිය දින කිහිපයේ අසනීපයෙන් සිටිය නිසා ගිය සතියේ දහම් වැඩසටහනට සහභාගී වෙන්නට නොහැකි වුණත් සම්පූර්ණයෙන් සුව නොවී සිටින අවස්ථාවක වුණත් මේ දහම් වැඩසටහනට සහභාගී වෙමින් අපේ පින්කම සාර්ථක කරගන්නට මේ අවස්ථාවේ සලසා දෙන මේ ආශිර්වාදයේ උන්වහන්සේද නිදුක් නිරෝගී සුව පිණිස වේවා කියන අදිෂ්ඨාන ඇති කරගෙන අපි අද දවසට નિયમિત වැඩසටහන ආරම්භ කරන්නටයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. විශේෂයෙන් පන්සිල් සමාදන් වෙලා තුනුරුවන් වන්දනා කරමින් සිංහල ධර්මානුශාසනාව ශ්‍රවණය කරමින් අවසානයේ සෙත් පිරිත් දේශනාව සිද්ධ කරමින් ඉංග්‍රීසි ධර්ම දේශනාව සිද්ධ කරමින් ළමයින්ගේ දහම් වැඩසටහනට සම්බන්ධ වෙමින් කෙටි භාවනාවකින් අනතුරුව අපේ දහම් වැඩසටහන අවසන් කරනවා. Now we are going to start our program today. We start with taking the precepts and paying our homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and also listening to the Dhamma in Sinhala, which will take about 20 minutes. Those who are not familiar with the language, they can sit and meditate during that 20 minutes. After the Sinhala Dhamma sermon, we reflect on few minutes of chanting protection blessings. Then we do another 20 minutes of English Dhamma sermon, followed by our children Dhamma sharing. We also have few minutes of meditation to finish our program. To start our program, please say Namo Tassa Bhagavato. Our Dikwelle Sila Sumana Pandit Hamdro will administer the 5 precepts. Please say Namo Tassa to start observing the 5 precepts.
Sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Buddhang saranam gacchami.
Saranam gacchami.
Dhammang saranam gacchami.
Dhammang saranam gacchami.
Sanghang saranam gacchami.
Sanghang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi dhammang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranam gacchami.
Dutiyampi sanghang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi buddhang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranam gacchami.
Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Panatipata veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Adinādana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Adinādana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Kāmesu miccācara veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Durāmēraya majjapamādaṭṭhānā veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami.
Surameraya majjapamadattana veramani sikkhapadam samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
We pay our homage to the supremely enlightened Blessed One, Lord Buddha, also to the Dhamma and the Sangha. We pay our homage to the sacred Bodhi tree, relics of Buddha and Arahant. We offer flowers, incense, medicinal drinks, and all the offerings with devotion and respect to the supremely enlightened Lord Buddha, sacred relics, and also the Bodhi tree. May those blessings be with you all, especially the Dhammadana sponsors today, Mrs Ramya, Cooke and family, especially their loving father, Mr Nicholas George de Silva Gunawardane, loving mother Piyawadana Gunawardane, brother Mr Asiri Devapriya Gunawardane, relative cousin sister Mrs Malini Weerasekera, and also Mr Sarath de Silva, and all the departed relatives and friends. May they equally share the blessings. Also, may the blessings be with all in the family and all in the whole universe, especially our venerable monks and the children and parents in our community. May they all be well, happy and peaceful. Bearing those in our heart, let us pay our homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha together. පිළියෙල කරගත්ත මල් පහන් සුවඳ දුම් දැහැත් බෙහෙත් ගිලන්පස සියලු පූජාවන් ගුණයෙන් අනන්ත ඥානයෙන් අනන්ත අසම සම විතරාගී උතුම් ලෞතුරු අමාමෑණී බුදුරජාණන් වහන්සේගේ අනන්ත අප්‍රමාණ බුදු ගුණ උදෙසා පූජා කරමි පූජාම වේවා. මේ උදාර පූජානිසංසයන්ගේ බලය ආශිර්වාදය විශේෂයෙන් අද දවසේ ධර්ම දානමය පින්කමේ අරගෙන කටයුතු කරන රම්‍යා කුක් නෝනා මහත්මිය ඇතුළු පවුලේ සියලු දෙනාටම සැලසේවා. සියලු නිදුක් නිරෝගී භාවය ආරක්ෂාව දියුණුවම සැලසේවා. විශේෂයෙන් දයාබර දෙමව්පියන් වන නිකලස් ජෝර්ජ් ද සිල්වා ගුණවර්ධන පියතුමාණන්ටත් පියවදන ගුණවර්ධන දයාබර මෑණියන්ටත් ආසිරි දේවප්‍රිය ගුණවර්ධන දයාබර සහෝදර මහත්මයා මාලිනී වීරසේකර දයාබර ඥාති සහෝදරියටත් සරත් ද සිල්වා සහෝදර මහත්මයා ඇතුළු මේ සෑම දිනාටම මේ උතුම් පින නිවන් සුව පිණිසම වේවා. ඔබ හැම දිනාටම සිතක් සාන්තියක් යහපතක් පිණිසම වේවා කියන අදිෂ්ඨාන ඇති කරගෙන අපි හැම දිනාම එකතුව එකට ගාථාවන් කියමින් තුනුරුවන් වන්දනා කරමු. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස ඉතිපිසෝ භගවා අරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විජ්ජාචරණ සංපන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති බුද්ධං ජීවිතං යාව නිබ්බානං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ස්වාක්ඛාතෝ භගවතා ධම්මෝ සංදිට්ඨිකෝ අකාලිකෝ ඒහි පස්සිකෝ පනයිකෝ පච්චත්තං වේදිතබ්බෝ විඤ්ඤුහිති ධම්මං ජීවිතං යාව නිබ්බානං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ උජ්ජෝපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචි පටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ යදිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුංගලා ඒස භගවතෝ ශාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති සංඝං ජීවිතං යාව නිබ්බානං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි වන්දාමි චේතියං සබ්බං සබ්බඨානේසු පතිට්ඨිතං සාරීරික ධාතු මහා බෝධින් බුද්ධ රූපං සකලං සදා යස්ස මූලේ නිසින්නෝව සම්බාරි විජයං අකා පත්තෝ සම්බං යුතං සත්තා වන්දේ තං බෝධිපාදපං ඉමේ ඒතේ මහා බෝධි ලෝකනාතේන පූජිතා අහං පිතේ නමස්සාමි බෝධි රාජා නමත්තුතේ ධන සාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදංසිනා තිලෝක දීපං සංබුද්ධං pujayami tamonudang gandha sambhara yuttena dupenahang sugandhina pujaye pujaniyantang pujabhajana muttamang vanna gandha gunopetang etang kusuma santating pujayami muning dassa siripada saroruhe pujemi buddhang kusumena nena punyena metena labami mokkang uppang milayati atai dhammi kayo tatayati vinasa bhavang sugandang sitalang kappang pasanna madhurang subhang paniya metang bhagava patiganhatu uttama adivase tuno bhante gilana paccayang imang anukampang upadaya patiganhatu uttama adivase tuno bhante sabbang saddaya pujitang anukampang upadaya patiganhatu uttama kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang acchayang kamami bhante buripanya tathagata kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang acchayang kamami dhamma sangdittika akalika kayena vaca cittena pamadena maya katang acchayang kamami sangha supatipanna anuttara imina punyakam mame bala samagamo satan samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu loka sasanang akasatta ca bhummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu mang paranti idang me ñatinang hotu sukita hontu ñatayo idang me ñatinang hotu sukita hontu ñatayo idang me ñatinang hotu sukita hontu ñatayo sadhu sadhu sadhu. Now we are moving into our Sinhala Dhamma sermon for about 20 minutes. During that time, those who do not understand the language, they can sit in meditation with the intention to listening to the Dhamma, called Dhamma Anusati, is a form of subject of meditation. After that, we'll continue our program in English. මේ වෙලාවේදී අපි සිංහල ධර්මානුශාසනාව ආරම්භ කිරීමටයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. සෑම සෙනසුරාදා දිනයකම ධර්ම දානමය වැඩසටහනක් හැටියට පවත්වනු ලබන ධර්මදේශනා මාලාවේ මේ දිනවල අපි වසල සූත්‍රය මුල් කරගෙන වසල සූත්‍රයේ ගාථා ධර්මයන් විග්‍රහ කරමින් සිදු කරන ධර්මදේශනා මාලාවයි සිදු කරනු ලබන්නේ. ඒ සඳහා අප කෙරෙහි බොහෝම ගෞරවයෙන් අනුකම්පාවෙන් මේ දහම් වැඩසටහනට සම්බන්ධ වෙමින් අනුශාසකත්වයේ ලබා දෙමින් කටයුතු කරන අතිගෞරවනීය දික්වැල්ලේ සීල සුමන පණ්ඩිත හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ මෛතාම ගෞරවයෙන් පිළිගනු ලබනවා. අද දවසට નિયમિત සිංහල ධර්මානුශාසනාව පවත්වන ලෙස මෛතාම ගෞරවයෙන් ආරාධනා කර සිටිනවා. කවුරුත් ධර්ම ශ්‍රවණය කිරීම පිණිස සාදුකාර පවත්වමින් ධර්ම ශ්‍රවණය කරන්න.
නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු වරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස රෝසකෝ කදරියෝච පාපිච්චෝ මච්චරී සට්ඨෝ අයිරිකෝ අනොත්ථාපි තංජඤ්ඤාවසරෝ ඉති. ගෞරවනීය ආන්දරන් වහන්සේ, දූ දරුවනි, දෙමාපියනි, වසල සූත්‍රයේ 18 වෙනි ගාථාවයි අදට નિયમિત වෙන්නේ. එමා මාතෘකා කළේ ගාථාවේ කියවෙන අදහස් තමයි යම් කෙනෙක් අන්‍යයන්ට ක්‍රෝධ කරනවා නම්, ඒ වගේම තද මසුරු සිතක් තියෙනවා නම්, පාපී අදහස් තියෙනවා නම්, ඒ වගේම නැති ගුණයකින් යුක්ත නම්, ලැජ්ජා නැත්තම්, පාපයට බියක් නැත්තම් ඔහු අසලේ කියන එකයි ගාථාවේ කියවෙන අදහස. මේ ගාථාවෙන් ඒ පාප ගති නැත්තම් වසල ගති දුර්ගුණ කීපයක්ම අපට උගන්වලා තියෙනවා, දක්වලා තියෙනවා. එයින් පළවෙනි ගුණය, දුර්ගුණය තමයි ක්‍රෝධ කිරීම කියන එක. බුදුහාමුදුරු ඉදිරිපත් කරපු ඒ වසල ධර්මයක් තමයි ක්‍රෝධ කිරීම කියන එක. ඒ සිතේ ඇතිවෙන ආඝාතයන් නැත්නම් ගැටීම්, විරෝධයන්, එහෙම නැත්නම් කිපීමක්, නොපහන් ගතියක් තමයි ක්‍රෝධ කිරීම කියන එක දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. පටිඝය, ව්‍යාපාදය, කෝපය, ක්‍රෝධය කියන මේ නම් වලින් හඳුන්වන්නේ ඒ ද්වේෂ චෛතසිකය බොහෝ අකුසල් සිද්ධ වීමට මුල් වන හේතුවක් ඇටියට, අකුසල මූලයක් ඇටියට අපේ ධර්මයේ දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. මේ දක්වලා තියෙන ඒ වසල ක්‍රියාවන්ට දේශය කියන එක මූලාරම්භයක් වන ආකාරය බුදුහාමුදුරුවෝ ඒ වසල කර්ම වලට ආරම්භයක් ඇටියට ක්‍රෝධ කිරීම කියන එක දක්වලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම ඒ ක්‍රෝධයෙන් දූෂණය වෙච්ච හිතක් තියෙන පුජ්‍යලයා හොඳ දෙයක් හිතන්නේ නැහැ, හොඳ දෙයක් කරන්නේ නැහැ. හැම විටම නරකට නපුරටයි තමන්ගේ හිත යොමු වෙන්නේ. ඒ ක්‍රෝධ බහුල පුජ්‍යලයා අන්‍යයටත් ඒ වගේම පරිසරයටත් තර්ජනයක් වන ආකාරය පමණක් නොවේ, ඌටම තර්ජනයක් වන ආකාරය මේ දේශනාව තුළින් පැහැදිලි වෙනවා. මේ විදිහට ඒ ద్వාරත්‍රයෙන්ම පාප කර්ම කරපු ක්‍රෝධ බහුල පුජ්‍යලයා මරණයෙන් මත්තේ අපායේ උපදින බවයි අපේ ධර්මයේ උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඊළඟට මේ ගාථාවේ කියන තවත් නපුරු ගුණයක් තමයි දුර්ගුණයක් තමයි තද මසුරුකම කියන එක. ලෝභකම වශයෙන් දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ තමන්ගේ වස්තුවට තියෙන ආසාව. සමහරු තමන්ගේ වස්තුව පමණක් නොවේ අන්‍යයන්ගේ වස්තුවට උනත් අන්‍යයන්ගේ වස්තුව උනත් වැය වෙනවට මැලිකමක් දක්වන. ඒ තද ලෝභකම තමයි කදරිය හැටියට අපේ ධර්මයේ උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. යම් කෙනෙක් පූජා බුද්ධියෙන් එහෙම නැත්නම් අනුග්‍රහ බුද්ධියෙන් හරි අන්‍යයන්ට යමක් පරිත්‍යාග කරනකොට ඒ තද ලෝභියා ඒකට අවලාද කරනවා, අවලාද නගන. මේ වගේ පුජ්‍යලයන් සමාජ සතුරන් ගුණධර්ම විනාශ කරන්නන් හැටියට තමයි දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. එවැනි අය මේ ලෝකේ පිරිහීමටපත් වෙනවා වගේම පරලෝ වශයෙන් අපායගාමී වෙන බව මේ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවෙන් පැහැදිලි වෙලා තියෙනවා. කොහොම නමුත් ඒ වගේම තවත් ගුණයක් තමයි දුර්ගුණයක් ඇටියට දක්වන්න පුළුවන් පවිතු අදහස් ඇතිවීම කියන එක. ගුණවන්තකම අනුන්ගෙන් වැඳුම් පිදුම් ගරු බුහුමන් ලබන්නට ඒ වගේම කීර්ති ප්‍රශංසා ලබන්නට සුසුකමක් ඇටියටයි උගන්වන්නේ. තමන් තුළ ඒ වගේ ගුණයක් නැතිව ගුණවතුන්ට හිමි ගරු බුහුමන් ලබන්නට කැමැති වෙනවා නම් ඒ පවිතු ලාමක අදහසක් ඇටියටයි දක්වන්නේ. ඒ පවිතු කම කැමැත්ත පාපිච්චතාවය කියන එක හැටියටයි අපේ ධර්මයේ උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම අනුන් රවටලා ලබා ගන්නා දේන් ජීවත් වීම හොරකමක් ලෙසයි ධර්මයේ උගන්වා තියෙන්නේ. කොහොම වුණත් තමන් තුළ නැති ගුණයන් අඟවල ගරු බුහුමන් ලැබීමේ පවිතු චේතනාව තියෙනවා නම් ඔහු නීච පුජ්‍යලයක් ඇටියට වසලයක් ඇටියටයි ධර්මයේ දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඊළඟට තවත් දුර්ගුණයක් තමයි නැති ගුණයෙන් යුක්ත වීම කියන එක. ඇතැම් පුජ්‍යලයෝ තමන් තුළ නැති ගුණයක් සීලයක් අන්‍යයන්ට පෙන්වන්නට උත්සාහ කරනවා. තමන් වැරදි කරමින් අනුන් ඉදිරියේ නිවැරදි කරුවෙකු වශයෙන් පෙනී හිටින්නට ඒ මායාකාරයේ ලක්ෂණයක් ඇටියට පෙනී හිටීම මායාකාරයේ ලක්ෂණයක් ඇටියට තමයි අපේ පොතපතේ දක්වන්නේ. සමාජයේ ඉදිරියේදී වෙස්මුණක් බැඳගෙන ජීවත් වීම වසල කාරණයක් ඇටියට තමයි මේ සූත්‍ර දේශනාවෙන් විස්තර කරන්නේ. සමහරුන් තමන්ගේ උසස්කම ලෝකයට පෙන්වන්නට කවර විදිහේ පහත් ක්‍රියාවක් හෝ එහෙම නැත්නම් අපරාධයක් පවා කරන්නට පුළුවන්. එය ඥානවන්තයන්ගේ නින්දාවට පාත්‍ර වෙන කාරණයක්. තමන් එවැගේම තමා සතු සියලු දේ උසස් කොට සලකන්නේ අනුන්ගේ කිසිදු ගුණයක් පෙන්වන්නට අකමැති පුජ්‍යලෝ. අනුන්ගේ ගුණ නුවණ දැකලා උගත්කම යහපත් චරිතය ආදී හැම දෙයක්ම පෙනෙන්නේ පහත් දෙයක් ඇටියට එවැනි පුජ්‍යලයන්. තමන් උසස් කොට සැලකීම ඒ අනුන් පහත් කොට සැලකීම අත්තුක්කංශන පරමම්බන තාවය හැටියටයි අපේ ධර්මයේ දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක මානයක් හැටියටයි විස්තර කරන්නේ. තමාට වඩා තත්වයෙන් උසස් කෙනෙකු ලෙස බලලා තමන් ඌට වඩා උසස්ය නැත්නම් ඌට වඩා සමානයි ඌට වඩා පහත්ය කියලා හිතන එවැනි මානයන් තියෙන පුජ්‍යලෝ. මෙන්න මේ විදියට තමා හා සමාන තැනැත්තා ගැනත් තමාට වඩා පහත් තැනැත්තා ගැනත් ඒ ආකාරයෙන් හිතන්නට පුළුවන්. මානය ඇති තැනැත්තා ඊර්ෂ්‍යාවෙන් වගේම මෝඩකමෙන් යුක්ත පුජ්‍යලෙක් බවට පත් වෙනවා. ඔහු ගුණ නුවණින් නම් මෙලව දියුණුවෙන්ද පිරිහීමට පත් වෙනවා. ඒ පහත් වසල ගතියක් ලෙසයි අපේ ධර්මයේ උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඊළඟට මේ ගාථා ධර්මයේ උගන්වන තවත් දුර්ගුණයක් තමයි ලැජ්ජා නැතිකම. ඒක අපේ ධර්මයේ දක්වන්නේ අහිරික කියලා. අහිරික යනුවෙන් විස්තර කරලා තියෙන්නේ ලැජ්ජා නැතිකම. ලැජ්ජාව ඇති වෙන්නේ Taman මුල් කරගෙන ආත්ම ගෞරවයක් ඇති පුජ්‍යලයා පව් කරන්නට ලැජ්ජා වෙනවා. පව් කරන්නේ ලැජ්ජා වෙන්නේ Taman ගැන, Tamanගේ මව්පියන් ගැන, එහෙම නැත්නම් Tamanගේ પરම්පරාව ගැන හිතලා තමා වෙන්න කුට මේක සුදුසු වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා කල්පනා කළා තමයි පාපයට බියක් ඇති කරගන්නේ. අපි ලැජ්ජා වෙන්නට ඕන පව් සිද්ධ කරන්නට, නැත්නම් පව් වැඩ කරන්න. ලැජ්ජාව නැති තිරිසනා කරන ක්‍රියාවන් මිනිහෙක් වශයෙන් කරනවා නම්, මිනිසෙක් වශයෙන් කරනවා නම් ඒක වසල ක්‍රියාවක් ඇටියට වසල සූත්‍රයේ විස්තර කරලා තියෙනවා. ඊළඟට මේ ගාථාවේ දැක්වෙන අවසාන වසල ගතිය තමයි පාපයට බිය නැතිකම කියන එක. පාපයට බය වීම ඔත්තප්පේ ලෙසයි ධර්මයේ දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. පව් කරන්න බිය නැත්නම් ඒක අනුත්තප්පේ ලෙස දක්වලා තියෙනවා. පාපයට බිය ඇතිවන්නේ අනුන් මුල් කරගෙන ලෝකයාගෙන් ලැබෙන නිന്ദා අපවාද දඬුවම් ගැන සිටිය යුතු වෙනවා. මේ ලෝකේ පමණක් නොවේ පරලෝකෙදි විඳින්නට සිදුවන ඒ දරුණු වද වේදනාවන් ගැන සිටිය යුතු වෙනවා. එහෙම හිතලා පව් වලින් වැළකීම උත්තප්පය ලෙසයි ධර්මයේ විස්තර කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ලැජ්ජා බය දෙක ලෝකපාලක ධර්ම හැටියට, දේව ධර්ම හැටියටයි හඳුන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ දේව ධර්ම කඩාබිඳ දමන පුජ්‍යලයා වසලයක් ලෙසයි දක්වලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඉහත දක්වන ලද අපි ඉහත සඳහන් කරපු ඒ වසල ගති වලින් වැළකීලා, නැත්නම් පවිතු ගති වලින් වැළකීලා යහපත් ජීවිතයක් ගත කරන්නට අදිෂ්ඨාන කරගන්න ආදියට හැම දිනාටම සිහිපත් කරනවා. තෙරුවන් සරණයි.
සාදු සාදු
සාදු සාදු සාදු
සාදු.
තෙරුවන් සරණයි අපේ ගෞරවනීය මාතර දික්වැල්ල වැවුරු කන්නල බුදුරජ මහ විහාරස්ථානයේ විද්‍යාතුංග පිරිවෙනේ පරිවෙනාධිපති වශයෙන් කටයුතු කළ, ජර්මනියේ බර්ලින් බෞද්ධ විහාරයේ අනුශාසක වශයෙන් කටයුතු කරන, අප විහාරස්ථානයේ අනුශාසක වශයෙන් කටයුතු කරන අතිගෞරවනීය දික්වැල්ලේ සීල සුමන පඬිතු හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ බොහොම ගෞරවයෙන් අද දවසේ ධර්ම දේශනාව සිදු කරනු ලබනවා. ඉතින් උන්වහන්සේට බොහොම පිං. මා මුලින් සඳහන් කළ පරිදි අසනීපයෙන් සිටියත් ඒ හඬ පවා අපිට තේරෙනවා වෙනසක්. ඉතින් උන්වහන්සේට මේ උතුම් පින්කමේ ආශිර්වාදයෙන් නිදුක් නිරෝගී භාවයේ සැලසේවා කියලා ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා. We are very grateful to our Hamudro joining very late at night now in Sri Lanka to support this Dhamma program. He was not feeling well. We can feel that when we listen to his voice. Yet he wanted to join and support. We wish him all speedy recovery, good health and protection. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now we are moving into few minutes of chanting blessings. We usually chant the discourse on outcast, which is a protection chanting in the book of protection as well. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Evaṃ me sutaṃ ekaṃ samayaṃ bhagavā sāvattiyaṃ viharati jetavane anāta pindikassa ārāme. Atako bhagavā pumbbanna samayaṃ nivāsettvā panta jīvara mādāya sāvattiyaṃ pindāya pāvisi. Tena kopana samayena angika bharadvajassa brahmanassa nivesane angi panjalito ti ahuti pangahita. Atako bhagavā sāvattiyaṃ sapadānaṃ pindāya charamāno yena angika bharadvajassa brahmanassa nivesanante nupasankami. Andasako angika bharadvajo brahmano bhagavantaṃ duratova agaccantaṃ disvana bhagavantaṃ etadavoca. Tatreva mundaka tatreva samanaka tatreva vasalaka tintahiti. Evaṃ utte bhagavā angika bharadvajaṃ brahmanaṃ etadavoca. Jānāsi panatvaṃ brahmana vasalaṃ vā vasala karani vā dhammeti. Nakvāhaṃ bhogotama jānāmi vasalaṃ vā vasala karani vā dhammi. Sādhu me bhavaṃ gotamo tatā dhammaṃ desetu. Yatāhaṃ jāneyaṃ vasalaṃ vā vasala karani vā dhammeti. Tena hi brahmana sunahi sadhukaṃ manasi karohi. Bāsissāmiti evaṃ gotiko angika bharadvajo brahmano bhagavantaṃ bhagavato paccassosi bhagavā etadavoca. Kodano upanahi ca papamakki ca yo naro vippanna ditti māyāvi tanjanya vasalo iti ekajaṃ vā dvijaṃ vāpi yodapāna nihingsati. Yassa pāni dayananti tanjanya vasalo iti. Yohanti parirundati gamani nigamani ca ningāhako samanyāto tanjanya vasalo iti gami vāya divāranye paresaṃ mamāitaṃ teyyā adinnaṃ ādiyati tanjanya vasalo iti. Yo have inamādāya chujjamāno palayati nahite inamattīti tanjanya vasalo iti. Yo ve kiñcikka kamyatā pantasmiṃ vajataṃ janaṃ hantvā kiñcikka mādeti තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ අත්ථ හේතු පර හේතු ධන හේතු චයෝ නරෝ සක්කි පුත්තෝ මුසා බ්‍රූති තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ ඥාතිනං සකානං වාදාරේසු පතිදිස්සති සහසා සම්පියේන වා තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ මාතරං වා පිතරං වා ජින්නකං ගත යොබ්බනං පහුසන්තෝන භරති තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ මාතරං වා පිතරං වා භාතරං භගිනින් සසුං අන්තිරෝසේති වාචාය තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ අත්තං පුංචිතෝ සන්තෝ අනන්ත මනුසාසති පටිච්චන්නේන මන්තේති තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ කତ୍වා පාපකං කම්මං මාමං ජඤ්ඤාති චති යෝ පටිච්චන්න කම්මන්තෝ තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ වේ පරකුලං ගන්්වා බුත්වාන සුචි භෝජනං ආගතන්න පටිපූජේති තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ බ්‍රහ්මණං වා සමනං වා අඤ්ඤං වාපි වනිබ්බකං මුසාවාදේන වංචේති තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ බ්‍රහ්මණං වා සමනං වා බත්ත කාලේ උපට්ඨිතේ රෝසේති වාචානච දේති තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති අසතං යෝද පබ්‍රූති මෝහේන පලිගුන්තිතෝ කිංචික්කං නිජිගිස්සානෝ තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ චත්තානං සමුක්ඛංසේ පරංච මවජානති නිහීනෝ සේන මානේන තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති රෝසකෝ කදරියෝ ච පාපිච්චෝ මච්චරී සටෝ අහිරිකෝ අනොත්තප්පි තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ බුද්ධං පරිභාසති අතවා තස්ස ශාවකං පරිම්බාජං ගහට්ටං වා තංජඤ්ඤා වසලෝ ඉති යෝ වේ අනරහා සන්තෝ අරහං පටිජානති චෝරෝ සම්බ්‍රක්මකේ ලෝකේ ඒසකෝ වසලාධමෝ ඒතේ කෝ වසලා වුත්තා මයාවෝ යේ පකාසිතා නචජ්ජා වසලෝ හෝති නචජ්ජා හෝති බ්‍රහ්මනෝ කම්මනා වසලෝ හෝති කම්මනා හෝති බ්‍රහ්මනෝ තදමිනාපි විජානාත යතා මේදං නිදස්සනං චණ්ඩාල පුත්තෝ සෝපාකෝ මාතංගෝ ඉති විස්සුතෝ සෝයසං පරමං පත්තෝ මාතංගෝ යං සුදුර්ලභං ආගං යුං තස්සු පට්ඨානං කත්තියා බ්‍රහ්මනා බහූ සෝ දේවයාන මාරුයිහ විරජං සෝ මහාපතං කාමරාගං විරාජෙත්වා බ්‍රහ්මලෝකූපගෝ අහෝ නනං ජාති නිවාරේසි බ්‍රහ්මලෝකූපපත්තියා අඤ්ජායක කුලේ ජාතා බ්‍රහ්මනා බන්මත්ත බන්දුනෝ තේච පාපේසු කම්මේසු අබින්න මුපදිස්සරේ දිත්තේව ධම්මේ ගාරයිහා සම්පරායේච දුග්ගතින් නතේ ජාති නිවාරේති දුග්ගච්ඡා ගරහායවා නචජ්ජා වසලෝ හෝති නචජ්ජා හෝති බ්‍රහ්මනෝ කම්මනා වසලෝ හෝති කම්මනා හෝති බ්‍රහ්මනෝ Evaං unte aggika bharadvajo brahmano bhagavantaṃ etadavoca abhikkantaṃ bhogotama abhikkantaṃ bhogotama seyyatapi bhogotama nikkujjitaṃ va ukkujjeyya paticcannaṃ va vivareyya मूलहस्सं वा मद्दं आचिक्केय्य अंधकारे वा तेलपज्योतं धारय्य चक्कुमन्तो रूपाणि दक्खिन्तीति एवमेवं भूता गौतमेन अनेक पर्यायेन धम्मोपकाशितो Esahang bhagavantang gotamang saranang gacchami dhammang ca bhikkhu sanghang ca upasakang mang bhavang gotamo dharetu ajjatagge panupetang saranang gatanti Yandun nimittang avamanggalang cayo camanapo sakunassa saddho papaggaho dussupinannakantang buddhanubhavena vinasamentu Yandun nimittang avamanggalang cayo camanapo sakunassa saddho Papaggaho dussupinannakantang dhammanubhavena vinasamintu yandun nimittang avamanggalang ca yocamanapo sakunassa saddho papaggaho dussupinannakantang sanghanubhavena vinasamintu Dukkhapatta ca nidukkha bhayampatta ca nibbhaya sokapatta ca nisoka hontu sabbe pipanino sabbe buddha balapatta paccekanan ca yang balang arahantanan ca tejena Rakkang bandami sabbhasu Sadhu 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 Now we are moving into our English Dhamma sermon Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, supremely enlightened Lord Buddha. Rosako kadariyo ca papincho machari sato ahiriko anottappi tanjanya vasalo iti. Dear friends in the Dhamma, as we are hosting a series of Dhamma talks, this series of Dhamma talk based on the discourse on outcast. As you know, Buddha was usually in the alms round, approached a house. One of the spiritual gentlemen was about to start his spiritual practice. By seeing the Buddha coming to his place, he kind of abused with anger and deep dislikeness, with very abusive words, calling Buddha an outcast. Buddha was very patient, so shows very, very great compassion to the person who was really abusing, and very calmly asked if he knows the meaning of outcast. He said that he didn't know that. Buddha asked him if he liked to know. He said he is very happy to know the meaning of outcast. As a result, Buddha delivered this discourse called Vasala Sutta, or Vasala means outcast. This discourse is also been named as Aggika Bharadwaja Sutta because that gentleman's name was Aggika Bharadwaja. This outlines over 28 different factors which make our character damage. Also, our journey to happiness and liberation can be really affected. Certain characteristics, certain actions, certain mental states can downfall in this life and even the life after. We have been discussing nearly 17 verses, gathas, in this particular discourse. Today, we discuss the 18th gatha verse of this particular discourse. It says, Rosako kadariyocha papicho machari sato ahiriko anottappi tangjanya vasalo iti. The meaning is, whosoever is given to anger is miserly, has base desires, and is selfish, deceitful, shameless, and fearless in doing evil. Buddha said, know him, know that person as an outcast. In this gatha, in this stanza, he outlined nearly 7 characteristics which are very important for all of us to know. Buddha presents a combination of evil qualities in an outcast. A person does not born as an outcast. The person grows and develops into a nature of outcast through evil qualities. So what are those evil qualities? Buddha explained in this particular discourse that we need to take seriously into our heart. Well, first characteristic is called liable to get angry easily, even for trivial reasons. The second one is selfish, with no consideration for others. Third one, deceptive in nature. The fourth one, miserly. Fifth one, crafty. And the seventh, greedy and shows no shame or fear in carrying out any actions of evil nature. The word rosako. Rosako means one who instantly gets angry. Doesn't have to have a reason. Even for trivial reasons, the person gets angry. which is a very unhelpful, dangerous, and even causing a lot of suffering to oneself and to others. Here that can be, say, anger, rage, fury, wrath. There are lots of words to explain. Whatever we called it, it happens to most of us, even to Buddhists. However, we need to cultivate opposite quality to overcome it. That is called loving kindness, metta. As human beings, we get angry. But what does really Buddhism teach about the anger? Buddhism says anger, any form of anger, whether aversion, whether rage, whether aggression, any form of anger is one of the three poisons. Just imagine what happens if you take poison, or if poison gets into you. You will die. This is not an exaggeration. Those who are getting angry, they lose their longevity. They lose their long life. And they can face a lot of dangers. So therefore, it is one of three poisons. The other two poisons, greed is called clinging or attachment. And the other one is called ignorance. Recollect and deeply reflect on these three poisons. You would win this life if you become skillful to overcome those three. Otherwise, these three poisons are the primary cause of the cycle of samsara, which we call birth and death cycle. The only way that our mind and the journey can be purified if we overcome ourselves these negative emotions like anger. There is no righteous, justifiable anger in Buddhism. All anger is a fetter to realization, is a hinder to realization. That is why it recognized as one of the 5 hindrances. Vyapada. Vyapada means, hindrances means nivarana, which covers, hinders, keep the liberation away from us. That is what we call hindrance, nivarana. Ni avarana, which covers the nivan, the liberation. Therefore, anger is one of the very important things to overcome in our life. First thing, to overcome it, we need to admit the anger is there. We need to admit it is a unskillful thing. It's not a skillful thing. If you don't admit it, that would feed, we will feed into it and make it more serious. Buddhism teaches mindfulness. So it means when unpleasant emotions or thoughts arises, do not suppress it. Don't run away from it or deny it. Instead, observe it fully, acknowledge it, being deeply honest about yourself, so that you would take it out like a very dirty thing put onto your fresh face. What makes you angry? Many people say external things, others make people angry. But it is a fact, many teachers say, no one makes us angry. We ourselves get angry. It is created by the mind of oneself. Therefore, when we deeply look into our state of mind, we can understand most of the time anger is a self-defensive thing. It is form of an unresolved fear, or our ego buttons are being pushed. It is sometimes to defend us. But most important thing, Buddhist teaching says, realize that is not real. Anger is an illusion, come from the ego. It doesn't really exist, but it can make a big harm. So it is not a real thing. It is what we call ghost. Normally, when we see a person who will get angry, we normally ask what the devil being possessed in you. That is kind of haunting by the ghost. You are not the real self. You are being obsessed with ghost or negative spirits. That is why it is not real. So this anger can generate in us because of this self-indulgence, that we always believe what we think and believe in certain things. Instead, when we practice loving kindness, we reflect all beings. All beings, when we say all beings, we can't exclude people who cut us off at the exit ramp, or the co-worker who takes credit for your ideas or activities, even a close friend who betrays you. When you say, may all beings be well, you can't really exclude anyone, even though they do something very unpleasant to ourselves. Anger is to hurt others, whereas loving kindness is to heal our heart, and which is more wholesome. Therefore, we need to learn to let go before it arises, while it is there, and even before when it is even not there. For someone to do so, we need to honestly cultivate patience. Impatient person gets always angry. When someone gets angry, that person is not calm person. This restlessness, stress, impatience can cause anger, because that person blame the others, blame oneself. Therefore, we need to acknowledge these negative emotions, embrace patience and compassion as an best antidote. It is not only for this life, even for many consequences in the long death and birth circle. That is why Buddha said it is a real furious thing. There was a small child at the time of the Buddha, and that child getting all the time angry. The father couldn't really bear that. One day, he took that small child to the temple, meet the monk. And monk said, okay, you can stay a few days. We will help you to overcome that. When the child was in the temple, calm, serene, always doing chanting and things, child was okay, did not get angry. Monk let the child to be normal and forget. And few days later, the monk took the child to the herbal garden. In the herbal garden, monks show different plants, herbs. One of the small plant called kohomba tree. Kohomba tree is a bitter, but it is the highest herb. No part of that herb plant can be thrown away. The stems, the skins, the leaves, the roots, and everything is taken for some medicine. Monk explained, this is so important plant. And the monk said, dear son, please take a handful of leaves and eat. He was very obedient and started eating. And he found out instantly when he was eating that was utter bitter, very, very bitter. His anger came soon, arise from within. And he was very angry because it's so bitter, it's very, very unpleasant. He looked at the monk, he was a little bit bigger. He looked at the plant and hit the plant and destroyed the plant. Monk very quietly sat next to him and asked, why? Why you did? I just asked you, don't harm the plant, just pick handful of leaves, but you destroy it. The little boy said, this plant is so small, but it is so bitter. What happens if it grows to a big tree? It can be a universally very, very bitter thing. The monk said, so like you, my son, now you are very small. You are very angry. But if you grow as a big person, this could be a real danger. So that is, Buddha said, this boy, by taking that seriously into his mind, became very honest to apply loving kindness to overcome the anger. In another occasion, Buddha said, Akko dena jine kodang. Those who are angry never react through anger. The wise people always win the anger with non-anger or loving kindness. Asadun saduna jine. The wise people always win those who are bad with always good. Those who are stingy, jine kadariyan danena, they always win by practicing generosity. Satchena alikavadinam, the wise people always win liars by truth. Never do any unwholesome thing. This is very important message for us. Even though some others practice anger, we should not return it. Those who are greedy, we need to always. There was a Zen story. One person was riding a boat, little dark. He couldn't see much. In the middle of the river, he heard a big sound. Something hit his boat. He was really having a big damage. He looked very carefully. There has been another boat come and hit his boat. It could have damaged a lot. He shouted that very angrily, instantly. But he searched more carefully and he found out there was no person in that boat. The boat has come from the wind. He realized that he was shouting angrily to an empty boat. Similarly, we most of the time get angry and shout and get ourselves very bad for empty boats, empty situations. That is why it is bad and dangerous. The next characteristics here explained is called greed. Greed is the second we call kadariyo. Kadariyo means selfish with no consideration for others. You think only yourself. It's another one of the poisons of out of three. And it is the second truth of the suffering, cause of suffering. Second noble truth, cause of suffering. And it is one of the 5 hindrances, kama chanda, that greed is not a simple thing. If you overcome that greed, you definitely gain the liberation. That is called lobha. Perhaps this greed can come for a shoes. We may have enough, but we may need another one. We are not satisfied with one gadget, one game, one object. We want another, we want upgraded one. That is how the nature of this greed, desire can come. Therefore, we need to really reflect. If you are a very greedy and selfish person, you are an outcast, Buddha said, because you don't consider about others' welfare. You always think of yourself. You are not a person who share. You always make yourself first priority. Navakarana mattena vanna pokkara tayava sadhurupo naro hoti issuki machari sato, said by the Buddha. Even if one speaks very beautifully, even if the person has the most elegant outlook, but that person does not become a good person if the person has issuki, which means the jealous, machari, that selfish greed, sato, very crafty and cunning, that person is not a good person, said by the Buddha. The next one we reflect on here is called ahirika and anottappa. That is very important quality to learn. Those are or even called Deva Dharma. Deva Dharma means the teachings of the divines. Very important two things. Ahirika. Ahirika means greedy and shows no shame for doing any evil action. Anottappa means no shame of fear, no fear for doing any evil things. Buddha says, Hiri ottampa sampanna sukha dhamma samahita santo sappurisa loko deva dhammati uchchare. One who always interested in doing good, develop and cultivate as a good person, should understand this Deva Dharma. Deva Dharma means the teachings of the divine. What are those teachings of divine? Moral shame, moral fear. We talk about fear, anxiety as a negative thing. But Buddha said there is a positive aspect of that. We should have some fear for doing evil things. we should have some moral shame for doing unwholesome things. Particularly when we are getting angry, when we are become selfish, when we are become crafty, when we are become miserly, we should identify those are not divine qualities. Those are outcast qualities. Those who have these two qualities, particularly moral shame, we call hiri. Ottappa means moral fear. Hiri means moral shame, that you really shame to do a wrong thing. Moral fear means ottappa, that you afraid of, because it brings bad name to yourself, it brings bad name to your family, it brings bad name to your spiritual practice, and it brings harm to your spiritual progress. That is called ottappa. You should be afraid of. That person is a satpurusha, virtuous person, said by the Buddha. And these two is a very, very special thing to learn. Buddha once met his own son called Rahula and delivered a particular discourse called Rahulovada, Ambalattika Rahulovada Sutta, advice to Rahula. And in that, Buddha says, if somebody does not afraid of doing evil things, he can do anything. And he will fall into a great harm and a danger. This is a very serious, very important message delivered by the Buddha. Buddha, in another occasion, in the Adi Pateya Sutta in Anguttara Nikaya, the fourth book of long length discourses and numerical discourses. Anguttara Nikaya is numerical discourses. The fourth book of that section, there is a discourse called Hiryottappa Sutta. Hiryottappa Sutta, Buddha explained beautifully how you would be getting the disadvantages of not practicing Hiryottappa. Hiryottappa means not practicing moral shame and moral fear. One who do not have the moral shame and moral fear, that person would not have the calmness of senses, Indriya Sangvara. The person who do not have the Indriya Sangvara, calmness in the senses, would break the precepts, sila. The one who break the sila is like damaging the foundation of a house. That house is not in good use. That person, those who are spiritually damaged in morality, would damage in the Samma Samadhi, right concentration. Those who are not having good right concentration, Samma Samadhi, they would not have Yata Bhuta Jnana Dassana, which means to see things as they are. Wise reflections. Those who do not have that wise reflection, they would not get the real understanding about the nature. As a result, they would not get Vimukti Jnana Darshana, which means the realization. So you can see how important this Hiri Ottappa, that means moral shame and moral fear. So Buddha very clearly explained in one particular Jataka story, a story of a water demon. One day there was a monk. He was enter into the monkhood at very late age. The reason, he was a living village person, lived in Savatthi, and he did not have any children. His wife passed away, but he had the wealth and strength. by being alone, he thought that no point of living like this. It would have been nice to become a monk. He became a monk, but being a monk, he lived himself as a personal life. He built himself a small temple and took some servants, asked them to make all the food and things and get all what he need, robes and things. And he was wearing one robe in the morning, another different robe in the evening. He was having full of goods, stuffs. While this was taking place, few of the other monks of the Buddha was going round for alms and happened to pass by this monastery. So that so many robes are being put outside and asked, are these all of this monk who is living alone? This monk said, yes. What do you think? Who else are here? This is all mine. I need all of these things. Then these monks said, normally as a monk, you need to practice simplicity, simple life, not having too much of possessions. This monk was not happy. Then the monks were encouraging him to go and see the Buddha. He was not happy to go, but these monks insisted this monk to go to the Buddha. Then he was presented at the Buddha. Buddha asked very kindly, is that true what these monks are saying? You are gathering a lot of things and using them by your own. And then this monk got very angry. And then said the Buddha, what are you thinking? All these items I need. Are you asking me to be half naked? He took the robe, upper robe, and throw it away. And in front of all the monks and even in front of the Buddha, he said, what are you asking me? Are you asking me to just live half naked? The Buddha said that you are very shameless, fearless person. Not only in this life, even in the previous life, you did not know the divine teachings of the moral shame and moral fear. In front of all this congregation, you took your upper robe and throw it away and asking, the Buddha is encouraging us to be like this. So this monk felt so sad and upset and sat next to the Buddha and apologized and asked him to explain the previous story. The Buddha said, many lifetime ago, there was a king, and for that king, there was a queen. For that queen had a baby. That was the Bodhisattva, the previous life of our Buddha. And the baby was named as Mahinsasa. Few years back, the same queen had another boy. That boy was named as Chanda Kumara, the Prince Chanda. However, unfortunately, few years later, the mother, the queen of those two babies, passed away. The king was very sad. After a while, he brought another queen. And that queen also later had a son called Prince Surya. This Prince Surya was so beautiful. The day that king had this third son from the new wife, The king was very happy. King, because he was so beautiful and wonderful, king said to the queen, you can ask for anything. I will give you whatever you ask for. This queen, the new wife, said, I would not ask it now because it is very happy occasion. I will ask it later. Will you remember that you said to me like this? The king said, of course, I would not change my words. However, all these three children came into a young age, and one day this new wife came and said to the king, King, you remember one day you asked me anything? I would like to take that opportunity now. The king said, of course, please ask. I will happy to give you anything. The queen said, I would like you to give or hand over the kingdom to my son, not to the elder two sons. The son called Prince Surya. The king was so upset and he was so devastated. He said, that is not moral. That is not reasonable. We have two sons, and they also the same beautiful. They also same very good children. How can I appoint my youngest son while I have two elder children? The queen said, you are now been changing your words. This will be a great damage to your reputation. If you made a word, you need to keep that. Otherwise, I will go and tell everyone that you are not a trustworthy person. King was very upset, went into the room and asked the two elder sons to come and gave them very good comfort and said, I am so sorry. I need to tell you something. I made a mistake. I said something like this. Now your stepmother is asking to give the kingdom to the Prince Surya. So therefore, if you stay here, this will be a great damage. I don't want you to lose your life. And I will ask you to leave this palace and the country so that you would be safe. So these two elder children were very honest, very obedient, and they instantly said, of course, that is that what makes you happy? We will leave this. We are not having any attachment or desire for anything. But when they were leaving, they saw the youngest son also saw this and came and asked, brothers, where are you going? And these two sons said, we are leaving to the wood for some spiritual life. Then this youngest son said, we really don't want to live without you, so therefore I will follow. Somehow these all three eventually went and they started living in the wood. One day the eldest said to the youngest, who was Prince Surya, there was a lake, please go and bring some water. This youngest went to the lake and stepped into the lake. There was a very dangerous demon in there. Catch that boy and ask, do you know the divine teachings? This youngest prince said, no, I don't know. Then those who don't know the divine are a prey, are a food to myself. Therefore, you would not have a life again. So the water demon hid that prince under the water. And he said, my other two may know, but the water demon said, if you don't know, there is no escape in this life. You are into a great danger. So the elder son was waiting for the younger son to bring some water. He realized that he is not coming, asked the second brother to go and find it out and bring some water. The second son also went and stepped into the lake, and instantly this water demon catch the brother and asked, what are the divine teachings? This second brother said, the divine teachings are the 4 directions. The demon said, that answer is wrong. So you don't know the divine teachings. Therefore, now you are a food to me. You have no escape. The eldest son, who was our Buddha in her previous life, waited for long, and by realizing that they did not come, he realized that there should be some danger. He went very carefully and observed the steps going into the lake, not coming back. He was observed very carefully. While he was observing, there came a man from the wood and said, you feel like tired. Why don't you go and take some water from this lake? This prince observed this man very well. He was not flickering, that he was not moving his eyelashes, and he does not have a shadow. And he instantly realized this is not a human being. He said, you are not a human being. You need to answer my questions. Where are my brothers? And this person said, of course, you are right. I am not a human being. I am the demon in this lake. Your 2 brothers came. I asked them what are the divine teachings. They did not, the first one did not know. The other one said the wrong answer. Therefore, they are in my custody. You would have them back if you know the divine teachings. Then this elder brother said, of course I know, but it is not proper to teach like this. You need to make me a good seat and bring me all the respect, flowers, and all the drinks and everything. Then I will teach you, I will preach you the divine teachings. The demon was so happy and facilitate all these things and sat on the floor and was eagerly waiting to listen. Then this elder son said, Hiriyottappa sampanna sukka dhamma samahita santo sappurisa loke deva dhammati uchchare. Those who are shame and fear to do any unwholesome things, being praised by the virtuous people, the moral shame and moral fear are the divine teachings. The demon was very happy and asked the prince to explain it further. The prince said, there are 3 deeds: bodily deeds, verbal deeds, mental deeds. If a person do unwholesome things from body, speech, and mind, those are called moral shame, moral fear. So there are 10, he said. What are the 10? 3 from the body: killing any living beings, stealing or taking what is not given, sexual, sensual misconduct are the bodily 3 evil things. Those who do not have the moral shame, moral fear, they practice it. What are the 4 out of the speech? False speech, slanderous speech, harsh speech, idle chattering. Those who do not have the moral fear, moral shame, they keep doing this. What are the 3 unwholesome things from mind? Greed, hatred, and wrong view, miccha ditti. Those who do not have moral shame, moral fear, they keep doing all these activities. So the water demon was very happy and said, you can ask one of them, I will give it to you. So this prince said, I want the Surya, the youngest prince. Then the demon said, you just preached the moral shame and moral fear, but you did not ask the second eldest, you were asking the youngest. So that means you know the moral frame and moral fear, but you are not really practicing it. Then this prince said, no, I know it, I also practice it, and said, we are here in the jungle because of our youngest brother. If he is in trouble or if we do not have him, the family will think that we killed him or destroy him. Therefore, even if my brother is not there, I always take a deep effort to secure, protect my youngest brother, who is Prince Surya. That is why I asked him. The demon was so happy and impressed about this prince moral shame and moral fear, and released both of them, both brothers. And these three brothers said, now you are living in this lake, eating human beings, eating living beings, which is not a wholesome thing. Why don't you get rid of that life and start eating fruits and other things and practice some good life? The demon was so happy and start practicing. One day, the eldest brother was looking at the sky, saw some difference in the stars and the moon, and said to the other two brothers, I think there is something in my country. My father certainly has ended the life or passed away. So all of them went and realized the father has passed away. And then all the ministers appointed this eldest son as the king, and the second one was appointed as the prime minister type of second king, and the last one was appointed as the commander. Commander is also, the three of them were appointed as the three main position of that kingdom, and the demon was given a very special place as a spiritual person. So Buddha said, by explaining this story, Buddha said this monk who opened up the upper part of the body without any moral shame, moral fear, was the demon by that time. The eldest prince, Prince Mahinsasaka, was the Bodhisattva. The second brother called Prince Chanda Kumaraya was our Sariputta, Venerable Sariputta. The youngest prince, Surya Kumaraya, was the Venerable Ananda. So that was the story explaining how this moral shame and moral fear is very important. Buddha said those who practice that, they get the yoniso manasikara. Yoniso manasikara means wise reflection, to see things clearly, and they will enter into the sohan stream, winning the stream of the spiritual path. So this is a very detailed discourse. Thank you for listening to all these 7 characteristics explained in that. Those are called, first one, Rosako, liable to get angry even for trivial reasons. Kadariyo, selfish with no consideration for others. Papicha, deceptive in nature. That means the person always says the qualities or positions that person does not have. Machari means miserly. Sato means very crafty. And ahiriko means greedy or shows no shame for evil action. Anottappi, which means no fear for carrying out any evil action. May this Dhamma reflection bring you the blessings of living a good life and attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us share the merits of this Dhammadana. Today, Dhammadana is being sponsored by Mrs Ramya Cooke, specially to transfer merits in loving memory of her beloved father, Mr Nicholas George de Silva Gunawardane, also loving mother, late Mrs Piyawadana Gunawardane, also late brother Mr Asiri Devapriya Gunawardane, brother-in-law Mr Sarath de Silva, cousin sister Mrs Malini Weerasekera, and all departed relatives and friends. May they all attain supreme bliss of Nibbana through sugathi lives. May those blessings be with all in the family and all in the community for the good health, protection, and progress. May you all be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. That is the end of our English Dhamma reflection. Now we continue with our children's program. We have two teachers, our Rasikaya and Padmanona. I will very kindly invite our Rasikaya to go ahead with the children's Dhammashala.
Good evening to everyone. So we learned last week the 17th Gatha. And, I hope some of you attended. I couldn't attend. And we learned the 18th Gatha, which is another very important Gatha. Hamdul said that if one has no fear or shame, they could do any evil act. And we learned it. I remember when I was going to Dhamma school in my childhood, that was one of the best lessons we learned. And so in today's Gatha, also we learn certain bad qualities if one has. He would be considered as an outcast. So what are those qualities? Pavata lajja novina, or be novina, means not being fearful or shameful to do evil acts. So those people can carry out anything, any bad act or unwholesome act. And also, this kind of person could be extremely stingy with money, meaning he will have no willingness to share things with others. And that person, again, is considered as an outcast. And if someone gets angry for minor things, unimportant things, again, that's a quality of an outcast. And if someone is giving impressions or expressions that he doesn't really possess, being deceptive to win certain things or gain petty things from other people, by cheating them, then Buddha said, know him as an outcast. And if one is a crafty person, Buddha said that if he is cunning and cheating tricky ways or methods to cheat other people, to gain things, know him as an outcast. So I would very kindly thank both Hamdurus to giving this Dhammadana, particularly Silusuman Hamduru, coming online to join this program to teach our children this Dhammakarna. I would wish both Hamduru, by giving this Dhammadana, may bring both Hamduru happiness and good health. Vasala. Okay. So, who attended Dhamma school last week? Okay. No problem. Okay. So I hope you must have watched Hamduru's video about the explanation of last week's gatha, the 17th gatha. I think we briefly did some homework the week before about that gatha. But if you would still like to go ahead and explain your understanding about that gatha, if one possesses extreme egoism, what are the bad qualities of that person, and who would, being wise, would do in order to show our in order to show their qualities, being a wise person. Who wants to go first? Anyone who wants to go and do their homework? Yeah, Sanket, please.
Hello everyone. Today I am going to be reciting and narrating the 17th Gatha. Rasako Kadoriyo Ka Papari Cho Maha Chirusato Ahari Oko Anotapi Tamjana Vasalo Viti.
Now my brother will explain in English.
Whosoever is given to animosity is calamity, has grand aspirations, and is naristic, fraudulent, audacious, and is intrepid in doing evil. Know him as an outcast. In summary, Buddha told us in this gatha not to be in wrath, not to be in greed, not to be selfish, and not to be in misery. And to add to this, 2 of them are from the seven deadly sins from the Bible, greed and wrath. So now I'll be focusing on these 4 factors and why not to be doing them. Some of the why not to be angry is that behaviors associated with anger can have serious consequences and can also cause depression.
Ayah, why should we not be greedy?
One should never be in greed, as nobody knows where life is going to take us.
Ayah, okay, Ayah, then tell me why we should not be selfish.
Because you're always going to be discourteous and be imprudent.
Ayah, could you please explain me why we should not be sad?
Because then it will slow down you from your dreams and goals.
This is why we should not do these things together.
Then ang sana.
Looks like it is today's Gatha you explained, didn't you? 18th Gatha. That's fine. Okay, who wants to go next? Manuka?
Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about the 17th Gatha of Vasala Sutra. Yo chatanam samukamse pawancha mavajanati senamanena nihino senamanena tamjanya vasalo iti. Whoever is debased by their pride exalts himself and belittles others is known as an outcast. As human beings, we should be treated equally, and treating others badly is not a good habit, and Lord Buddha forbids this. We should not belittle our parents, friends, or teachers. Thank you for listening. Del one Saranai.
Sajid, have you got any homework about 17th Gatha?
Yes.
Oh, okay, very good.
Yo charjanam samukamse palam chamavajanati nihino senavane tamjanya vasaloriti. Here is this praise of rise, praises himself and sees others as unimportant, can be known as an outcast. If one praises and glorifies themselves through lots and lots of pride, at the same time downplaying others and seeing them as inferior and unimportant, and it can be seen as an outcast. A wise person will see his good qualities, but will view them through modesty, while praising others for their good characteristics. Tilman.
Thank you, Sachin. Yo chatanam samukamse param cha manujanati nihino senamanena tamjanya vasalo iti.
The meaning of this gatha is, whosoever, debased by his pride, exalts himself and belittles others, know him as an outcast.
When a person glorifies oneself through conceit and excessive pride, while at the same time making fun of and teasing others, is a characteristic of an outcast.
A wise person like Harmondru would show modesty and humbleness, even at the hardest and most difficult of times. This is also true if they do have qualities that they are proud of, such as kindness and compassion. They don't brag about them.
That is true, Ayya. The wise people don't brag about their qualities. They also try to make people recognize that they are wise people by showing those qualities everywhere they go, rather than saying those qualities out loud. Thank you for listening. Terawan Saranai.
Thank you, Aya and Nangi. Your chattam samukam se pararam cha mavo jannati nahin nahino sena manena tam janna vasalo iti. Whosoever debased by his pride exalts himself and belittle other, know him as an outcast. So thank you for listening. Truan Saralai.
Thank you, all of you. Right, so let's discuss if you have any questions, please, with regard to today's lesson or previous lesson or anything else. No? Okay, good. Padma, have you got anything to say, please?
So shall we do short meditation then?
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Selecting a comfortable posture. If you can't hear, please stop me. Eh? Not clear. Pay attention to your posture of sitting from head to toe and toe to head. If you are paying attention, very close attention to your body will be automatically straight. Head is straight, shoulders is straight. Take gentle few breaths and relax yourself. Breathe in slowly. Breathe out slowly. Notice the nature of your breath. Long in length. short in length. Recognize your mind and body is relaxing, settling, and you are in peace. Determined to return in this balance, recognizing serenity at least 15 minutes. This short guided meditation is to develop good relationship with the teacher. We call them virtuous friends who help us to understand practice correctly. The way to develop this teacher-student relationship, to build up good relationship, we need to reflect or recollect the virtues or qualities of the teacher. The teacher is the person who originally found the practice. All others are tutors alike. Teacher Here is the Buddha. We will do meditation on qualities of Buddha as a teacher. There are 9 qualities of Buddha. Simply spend few minutes contemplating of 9 qualities of Buddha. These 9 qualities I will explain to you all for your orientation. Araham, purest mind. No defilements. Do not do any wrongdoing, even in secret. Worthy of respect. Samma Sambuddha. Understand the 4 noble truths by himself. And make others realize them. Vijacharana Sampanna. Endowed with knowledge and excellent conduct. Sugatha, calm, peaceful, and accomplish the journey of life aspirations. Lokavidu, knower of all the worldly systems. Anuttara Purisa Dhamma Sarathi, capable to training, helping to be better. Any difficult human beings. Satta Deva Manusanam, a teacher to both humans and divines. Buddha, fully enlightened, one who knows, fully blossom mind like a lotus. Bhagava, Blessed One. The luckiest one. As greed, hatred, and delusion is fully detached from the mind. Please recall these 9 qualities without guidance, taking 1 minute. From today onwards, I will determine to cultivate at least one quality within myself. I will pay close attention to these 9 qualities. To improve my disciplines. Bringing our palms jointly together in a prayer posture, close to your heart. To finish our practical session, guided meditation, we will say sadhu 3 times out loud. I will ask Sanket to say please. Can you unmute Sanket, please? And say sadhu 3 times out loud to hear for everybody.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you. Over to you, Rasika.
Good. Who had a good meditation session? Who did honestly meditate? So, Padma teacher told you how to meditate by thinking about Buddha's 9 qualities. And she explained each and every one. And she wanted you to practice at least 1 quality. Start practicing. That's all about Dhamma. Practicing. You know enough. Now it's time for you to practice and get your behaviors in the right place. Practice good qualities. minimize anger, desire, and ignorance. Good. So let us meet again next week. And please do a little presentation to show your understanding about today's Gatha. And I would kindly pass it back to Honorable Devapriya.
Therwan Sarnai Rasikaya, Therwan Sarnai Padmanona and children. That was very good meditation session and very good Dhamma day, Dhamma school day. Wish you all the happiness and good luck. Thank you for joining, and we'll look forward to see you next Saturday with your homework. I think even though few numbers today, all of you who are here contributed very well. So it has already been little long now. Wish you a very happy weekend. Thank you, Rasikaya, for all the support, and also Padmanana, all the parents and children. Therwan Saranai.
There's only one last thing. I saw that when we were saying Gatha on the day that you were not well, that was last week, and you displayed on the screen as we chant the Gathas,
Oh yes,
how to spell and how to pronounce those Gathas.
yes.
I thought it was a really good idea. So children who are not quite familiar with these Pali words,
Yes.
they can look at the screen and read those words as we say. I thought it was a really brilliant idea. If you could do that, I'm really from next week.
Okay, I will do that, Rasikaya. Yes.
Thank you.
Therwan Saranai.
Okay, children, have a nice week. I will see you next week.
Thenang Sanai Hamdrine and Roskamam.
Therwan Saranai Hamdurane, Therwan Saranai Padmanandi, and Therwan Saranai Tata.
Therwan Saranai Hamdurane, Therwan Saranai Padmanandi, and Therwan Saranai Tata.
Therwan Saranai.
Therwan Saranai.